Welcome to the Vintage Times, a program for senior citizens. On our program today, we will discuss making health and life choices that endure. We will talk about services that can help us plan our health care, personal care, finances, home health care, legal issues, and much more. These services are especially important if we learn that it is difficult for us to make everyday decisions because of illness or disability. Today, to discuss these services, with me is Shay Jacobson, who is a nurse and the president of Lifecare Innovations. Thank you, Shay, for joining us today.
Thank you. It's always an honor, Hannah.
Thank you. And can you please describe your company and what you do?
We're a company that advises seniors and helps them through difficult times by helping them surround themselves with the services they need to be independent.
How do you help people?
How do we help people? Well, we have people that come to people's homes and can be caregivers. We have handymen that can help them fix their faucets. We help them pay their bills if they have difficulty. Whatever a person needs to stay independent, to stay in their home environment as long as possible.
And you talk about plans that endure. What does it mean to make a plan that endures?
I think that the best thing for a senior to do is to get to know trusted advisors early and be able to tell them what they want before a crisis happens.
Okay.
You don't wait for a moment of need to make a plan. You make plans ahead of time.
Yeah.
And that's a plan that will endure and have your wishes be honored.
Okay. Can you describe the plan? What is in a plan that endures?
Well, I think one of the most important things in a plan is picking who is going to make healthcare choices for you. And that is picking your powers of attorney and also picking who does your financial choices for you. People choose these things for finances, but for healthcare choices, they choose them. They also need to sit down with that person and explain what they want, not make the person guess.
Okay, so you get to know the person and what their wishes are, and you work with them.
Right. We actually do this, and we encourage families to do this. We have questions that we ask them, like, if this happens, what would you like us to do? If you thought about this ahead of time, what would you like to stay at home with helpers, or would you like to go somewhere instead? And so we ask these questions before they're faced with a crisis that makes them make these decisions without previous thought.
What happens if I don't make plans ahead and there is a crisis?
Well, there is a saying that goes, those who fail to plan have a plan that fails. So if you don't make a plan, then other people are placed in a position to make a plan for you. And the plan that they make for you may not honor your wishes.
Right.
And so what we're talking about today is figuring out how to express the things that you want, talk about the things that are important, and find the people and the types of services that can make those things happen for you.
Right. So you really help me make decisions for the future.
What I would help you is to learn what you want your decisions to be so that I can do them right.
Right.
Because if you want to keep your health and stay in control of how you want things, you have to be telling people how that is.
Right.
And so my goal is to know you so that if something happened to you, I'd know just the right thing to do.
That's wonderful.
Not the thing I would do, because you don't care.
That's
what I
so
would do.
important, what I want to do.
That's
and if I do it early enough, I'm more in control of what I want to do than if I wait for an emergency, which I may not be in control anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
For instance, I have a woman who says, I want to stay in my house because my kids live down the block and I want to see the grandkids and I want them to come in my house and have cookies. And if I break my hip, I want you to bring caregivers in so that I stay there and watch my grandchildren grow up. That's what she wants.
That's what she wants. So what do you do?
So what we do is we find that out, and then if anything happens, we do get caregivers and we bring them in, and we don't say that she wanted to go live in assisted living or something like that. We know she wants to live home.
Right.
And so we make sure that she gets to do it the way that she wanted to do it,
right,
rather than the easiest way, which is, it is always easier to go someplace else.
Right. But you honor the wishes of people. Before we talked about two important terms, surround care and self-determination. What are those?
Well, I think that I am a big advocate for people, and that's what geriatric care managers do, is they advocate. And self-determination is really talking about what we're saying is that you want the person to determine how it looks for them.
Okay.
Not let another person choose. And it's all about choices. And surround care is surrounding people with the services they need to stay independent as long as possible. So we have a woman with macular degeneration. She can't pay her bills anymore, so we sit with her once every 2 weeks and pay them with her.
Right.
But she's in charge.
Right.
But we offer just the amount of help that she needs to stay on top of it.
Shay, you mentioned a very important thing, and that is to help people be independent. Many people are afraid that if you bring someone in, it'll deprive them of independence. It's quite the opposite, right?
It's always quite the opposite. If you pick and surround yourself with the care or the services that you need, you're actually independent longer. It's very easy for an older person to see that it's great to have someone mow your lawn.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to hurt my back. But they also need to see some other things, like maybe they don't need to cook anymore. Maybe somebody needs to drive them, and they still get to do the things they want, and they get to do them longer.
And it enhances their independence.
Absolutely.
You remain more independent in your own home with the help of services that you need at that time. Right?
Absolutely. And one of the things that we see with people is sometimes they won't make a decision. And then things happen that could be prevented, avoided, that really impact their independence, like falls.
Right.
Falls are a big thing.
Right.
Like car accidents when they're having difficulty driving. And once you've had an accident, you can't go backwards. I mean, these are things that you can't go backwards.
So talk about falls. How do you help people prevent falls?
There's a lot of ways to help prevent falls. If you get an advisor in there, they'll look at the environment and make sure that it's okay. Sometimes you may need to build things that make the stairs easier, put railings up, do all sorts of things that prevent a fall.
That's so important.
And sometimes it's because someone may have an illness like Parkinson's or diabetes or things that affect their inner ear. And there are so many things for balance control centers and lots of stuff that has been done to help people be more stable on their feet before they fall, not after.
No, it's too
before.
Late after. Yeah.
Right, right.
So you come in and you observe my environment and you help me make decisions about preventing falls, about taking care of my finances. about help with vision problems, whatever my need is.
Whatever your need is. And one thing I learned, we started this business 13 years ago, and I thought, because I'm a nurse, I would help people with their health. And I do, but half of what we help them with is their house. It's hard to get the right plumber.
Oh, right.
They never show up when they're supposed to. And it's very complicated because maybe you need an electrician and a plumber and this, and we coordinate all those things.
Right.
And we have our own handyman service because houses need maintenance to be safe.
Yeah.
And so you need to take care of the things and get help for your environment as well as your person.
So you're really my trusted person to whom I can call for any type of help. Shay, can you sort of walk us through, let's say I call you today and say, Shay, I really cannot take care of my everyday things I need to do. What do you do?
Well, I think that when someone calls us, and most of the time it may be the daughter who calls us or the neighbor or some other person that they trust very much, and we like to come in and get to know the person and actually do an assessment. So we look at where they live, we look at who they are and what their goals are, we look at their health. Do they have diabetes? Do they have a hearing problem? Do they have a vision problem? A person who's older has a combination of all those things. And so you want to put it all together and say, okay, now here are the things that'll help you stay independent longer. And we sit down and talk to them and their family about that.
Can you describe a typical case or an interesting case to explain to us what happens?
Well, it's always an honor on any case that we're on. But we have a woman that we've taken care of for about 5 years. She has a little bit of a short-term memory problem. She forgets things. But she is absolutely brilliant and can manage her own stock portfolio.
Okay, good.
But she does forget the grocery lists and those simple day-to-day things. So we help her. We help her with the lists. We help her with the shopping. We review it. We're kind of like her check marks.
Right.
And that way she can stay home and stay independent. And she still can run her stocks because that, for some reason, is perfectly simple for her because she did it all her life.
That's right. It's more long-term memory stuff.
So she's be able to stay independent because we make sure we get the right food and the right groceries.
Wonderful.
And that's a typical. And she's like so happy to see us.
Yes.
And so happy to feel comfortable and not like she goes to the store and gets 5 bottles of ketchup before we came and no mustard. And she constantly did this. So she always felt like she didn't get the things she wanted and she knew it.
And there could be important things like forgetting to take medications, forgetting to pay your property tax, and you notice all of that.
We notice all of that. One of the most common reasons we get called by a daughter is the forgetting of the property tax. It's one of the worst bills because it doesn't come every month.
Right.
Things that come every month are easy.
It's a routine.
There's a routine. Things that come once a year or twice a year, or sometimes they send you a letter and sometimes they don't, are hard for people.
And that's bad. You have to pay your property tax.
If you don't pay your property taxes, your house is sold for back taxes. And many a family will call us when they see that has happened. And they've paid every other bill.
Right.
And it's easy. But that's where you need to get some help.
Right.
Maybe a banker or someone who watches over your bills and makes sure those are done every year can make it so easy for you to stay home.
Will you tell me all this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Will I take care of you? Yes.
Yes. Wonderful.
If you make me cookies.
Good. So, do you feel it's important to get professional help?
I think that is a very good question. I think professional help always makes it better for people. When you and I were talking this morning, if you had a pain in your side, you wouldn't actually go to your hair cutter and ask what it was. You'd go to the doctor.
Right.
And then you're going to be able to solve your problem. If
Right.
you need to find out what is out there in the world to keep me home, we have so many ideas, and we know things that they have. Doctors come and visit people in their homes now. Did you know that?
Yeah, no.
And podiatrists. And all sorts of services are available in your home that weren't available 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It must be so comforting to have a person like you. It relieves a lot of burdens, a lot of worries I may have waking up in the morning and feeling unsure of things I may have to do and I can't do.
They know that there's one place to go to call
Right.
and say, all right, now when's my doctor's appointment? Or
Yeah.
a lot of times we find that older people have to coordinate many, many appointments. Our health care is not
Right.
coordinated.
Right.
And so you go to somebody for your diabetes and somebody for your hearing and somebody for your teeth, and
Right.
it's very confusing.
But that's confusing.
It is very confusing.
It is.
Or the medicines, how do you organize those?
Yeah.
They have new medication machines that your cell phone, you put it up to the bottle, and it tells which one you took last
That's
and which one's due
wonderful.
now, and it makes a picture on your cell phone.
That's wonderful. That's important to know. Also, that's important for children of older people to know because they can help them set it up. So I want to ask you, if I have a parent or an aunt or grandmother, what signs shall I look for that they need help, that they can't really make their own decisions?
Well, one of the things that we see when people struggle a little bit is if they have a memory problem, and everyone has a memory problem, we all do, that it's always a short-term memory problem. So they'll remember the kids' birthdays, they'll remember what they did 5 years ago. They may call you 5 times to ask you when the dentist appointment is.
Right.
Because those are short things they don't remember. Or when are you coming to pick up the dry cleaning, or those kind of things. So if they call you on one day more than 3 times with the same question, they're struggling.
Right.
If you go to someone's house and they're always wearing the same outfit, that's a big sign, because they go to their closets and they may have 50 outfits. But when they're having trouble sorting, they always pick the same outfit.
Right.
Those are things that we notice.
Yeah.
Or when they lose their glasses. Of course, my dad lost his glasses his whole life. They were always on top of his head. That's all we would have to tell him. But if they lose really important things like glasses,
Right.
that those are big signs that maybe that short-term memory is struggling.
Yeah. So you want to, as a caregiver, as a child of a parent, you want to look for signs and don't wait too long, right? Call to get help, to prevent problems, to enhance their independence.
I think one of the things that kids, children, friends, neighbors notice is medication. It's very easy to see that this medication should be filled every 30 days.
Right.
And you look at the bottle and it hasn't been filled for 3 months. Then it's an indication that maybe they aren't taking them every day like they should. So you check with the pharmacy and make sure things are actually renewed regularly.
That's very interesting.
Very good to find that.
That's a good way to check the medications bottle, have they renewed it? But those devices that tell you to take medications, where do you find those?
Well, there are all sorts of ones, and the simplest one is in every Walgreens, every CVS pharmacy, are the boxes. And it's really wonderful to go and set up medications in the box, because in the morning, if they're not sure they took their pill, they can look at the box and see, morning, pill still here.
Right.
It's Tuesday,
Right.
morning, pill's still here. You want to get a paper delivered with the date on it, which will also help them. It's Tuesday, you know, different things that help them with that they can always check back with.
Yeah.
And older people like papers. You know, we're into cell phones and and different things. That doesn't mean an older person likes that kind of thing.
They have to know how to manipulate these things. So.
Newspapers are an awesome thing that orient you to what's happening today, what day it is, and where to start.
It's tangible, and we are familiar with it.
Absolutely.
Now, we kept talking about the importance of planning ahead. What happens if I don't plan ahead? What can happen?
Well, when you ask me self-determination, which is a huge issue, is if you don't plan ahead, someone else will make your plan.
Right.
And you'll have less of an opportunity to do it your way.
Okay.
And I think that I want to give you an example of a fabulous client that we have who's 85 and has a 60-year-old son that has developmental disability. She takes care of him. She planned ahead. We come see her once a month for the last 3 years. And we know her, and we know her son.
Right.
When she fell and broke her hip, we were able to come and take care of her son like that.
Right.
And if she hadn't have planned, I mean, sorry she broke her hip.
Of course.
But her son would have had to been put in a nursing home for the 4 weeks that she had to rehab. And instead he got to stay home with a caregiver. His routine stayed the same. We knew exactly what he liked to eat. And then she came home, got better, and is back in charge. So sometimes you need help for the moments when you're not okay.
Right.
And you need someone to step in and then step away.
Step away, that's important too. So it is very nice to have a plan ahead. I get to know you, I trust you, I fall, I end up in the hospital, I call you. You know how to help me, you know how to help my disabled son. Immediately.
And you know, the other thing is if you call me ahead of time and you get to know me and you don't like me, can't imagine that.
No,
but it could happen.
Yeah.
You have the ability and the time to choose somebody who fits you better. Because it's all about you. It's not about me.
Right.
And you have to have somebody who's going to do it the way that you look at it, not the way I look at it.
That's one of the most important messages, that you help me do what is best for me. You listen to me, you get to know me, and you help me remain independent. And you also work with other professionals.
Right, and that all think kind of the same way. And when you said that we do something that helps it be best for you, I want to go a step further. I want to do things that are good for you that you would have wanted if you were in the driver's seat at that very second. Not just best for you, but the way you want it.
Because you know me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make life choices for you without your help.
Right.
And that's the difference in getting an advisor rather than someone who just takes over.
Right. So it's important to plan ahead, get to know my trusted person so that you can help me remain independent and respect my wishes.
Right.
Shay, how do I pay for these services?
Well, in the way that things are set up now, you hire a lawyer, you hire an accountant, and you hire a healthcare, geriatric care manager advisors. And those are things that you do pay for.
Right.
Those are professionals that you pay advice for. And they do make your life better. You hire a banker to manage your money.
Right.
Because healthcare and life is so complicated today.
Yes.
Paying an advisor to smooth the way and know the little kinks and twists and turns in the roads makes life better for people.
And makes the road smoother. Yeah.
So you pay for advisors the way you pay for an accountant.
Right.
You pay for their time and their expertise.
Right.
It isn't something that your insurance company pays for. It's something that you choose to have someone help you with.
And it's money well spent.
I think it's money well spent.
Yeah. Well, Shay, this was so wonderful. Is there anything else of importance you'd like to add?
I think it's important that when you're making these decisions that you perceive yourself as a teacher and you are teaching whoever's going to help you how to do it right.
Right.
They're not teaching you, you're teaching them.
Yeah.
So take the time to teach them.
Right. Thank you, Shay, very much, and thank you for joining us today. I hope that you have learned that it is very helpful to plan ahead with professionals who can help you plan health care, financial issues, legal issues, self-care, and so much more. And if you have any questions and you'd like to contact Shay at Lifecare Innovations, you may call her at 630-953-2154, or you can call us at the Township at 630-719-6682. And thanks again for joining us today.